LS swap everything. Those words alone make up the book for a religion that's existed since what feels like the beginning of time. I know a few people that I don't think I'll ever see holding that book, and one of them is right here at Galmut Racing. Maybe you remember Jared's Supra or Mini, or even the infamous Evo 4, but when a C4 Corvette shows up carrying a 1J transplant and hopes of slaughtering tires while sending a mess of confusion into the eardrums of many, it's tough not to pay attention. Wow, look at these wheels, man. These are sick. What is this? When it's broken, you can just like pull it.
Shopping cart. Take it into Costco or whatever.
You would be good at YouTube, Jared. That's a good concept right there.
I want to do YouTube so bad.
Good, how are you doing?
I don't have the know-how to film, and frankly, I get stuck with working.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Oh yeah, stealthy boost cage there. Good size wheel too.
That thing was in my buddy's 67 Belvedere. It's date code 1984 for being an old wheel.
Whoa,
it's
yeah.
In pretty good shape.
It's in amazing shape.
And the
oh
guy
wow.
from Serial 9 hooked me up with the steering wheel hub for it.
Yeah, it's a nice short hub. Like you don't have to take your hands off to get the wipers or anything. This to me was definitely one of like the Gran Turismo greats. You know, something that I always wanted to drive. Oh, it looks just like I had a Suzuki Forza 3-cylinder turbo.
Yeah, basically.
Looks the same.
There's your engine.
Yeah.
There's like no hydraulics on the clutch. It's all cable driven. Like
Wow.
It's so simple.
It's effectively it's an older GR Corolla. Yeah, it's a GR Corolla. Yeah.
Makes like 10 pounds.
Wow. Yeah, you need it. Who picked these wheels? You or the owner?
The owner.
Yeah, I like.
The originals are the saw blades.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, I kind of want a sleeper style, so he's like, I found these rotiforms for cheap. Can we make them fit?
Yeah.
I'm like, perfect.
I mean, they look perfectly flush, and they have the original C4 look to them.
Yeah.
They look
exactly.
like.
Which is kind of what he wanted to go with.
Yeah.
Now they are on spacers because the bolt patterns, Volkswagen bolt pattern. So there's like a 1/2-inch spacer on the rear and a 1/4-inch spacer or 1/2-inch spacer on the front as well.
Oh yeah. Have you driven? What Corvettes have you driven?
I've driven actually C4,
Yeah.
C5, C6, C7. So I've driven almost all of them.
Wow.
The only
Yeah.
thing I haven't driven is a Stingray and a C8.
Did you say C3? Have you driven a C3?
No, I have not. I've sat in one, but the owner wouldn't let me drive it.
Yeah. That's probably my favorite. Not my favorite classic Corvette, but
I do quite like the C3s.
I would love to drive a C3. And I've never driven a C4 or a C5 actually.
They're a bit of a boat. They're more of a cruiser vehicle more than anything. But that's basically all he really wants. He wants a cruiser / autocross.
Yeah.
So trying to make that happen, but the suspension is going to be the tricky part.
I mean, talk about like, this is a pretty cool swap. I mean, C4s already have the engine pushed back like pretty far, but I feel like is this a lighter engine?
I think it's 100 pounds lighter technically.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's already an advantage. But to get this to fit in here was quite a struggle.
Yeah.
So the story goes is the owner sold his R33 GT ST, got the Corvette itself for relatively cheap, bought the engine from Dan at Post Haste with the R154 and the wiring and ECU and whatnot. And he's like, I've got a great idea. He just showed up in my shop one day. He's like, hey, I got a stupid idea that'll piss off a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm in. Let's do it.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
brings me all this stuff. Is like, here, get it to fit.
It does sit nicely. I mean, the amount of clearance, you've set everything fairly snug in here, it looks like. This looks definitely custom here where the alternator is.
No, that's
No?
stock location for the alternator. I just had to do some trimming from the subframe.
Oh yeah, I see that.
So the cross member is sunk down about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch, and then just a clearance there for the pulley and belt. I got my brother to weld up the engine mounts. They're not fully finished quite yet because I wanted to make sure that they fit in there.
Yep.
And then the hard part was cutting out the rear firewall. So basically from here to here is all cut out, and I got my body guy to fill it in with a piece of steel, and then just rivet it in place so it's all nice and tight.
That's crazy. So
I got about an inch of clearance from that alone.
yeah, I mean, now that you say that, it makes a little bit of sense because, of course, there's 2 more cylinders in length versus the V8.
See, but even the V8 was tight.
Yeah.
in there. Like, I was, so Dana Post Ace actually has basically the exact same Corvette, and I was worried about how close the crank pulley was going to be to the cross frame. Mm-hmm. But on the original Corvette, it's about that much of clearance.
Wow.
Like, it's literally nothing. So I'm like, oh, I'll be fine. So I should have a little bit more clearance. And the other issue was the AC condenser thingy sat out to about here. Like, it's absolutely massive.
Are you trying to put AC in this car?
Ew.
Okay.
No, I told him right away. I'm like, it's not gonna work.
I mean, autocross car and stuff like that. You don't really
and the turbos right there.
Yeah.
It's just going to heat this up to all hell. Anyways, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
But this fit basically right like that.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
So what we did is I took the housing and I cut the housing down, and then again got my body guy to fab up this plate, so he can still use his factory blower motor and heater core.
Oh,
but then he can still have his auto defrost.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, so it won't be fully stripped. Like, he'll still have actual, like,
He'll still have
air.
some creature comforts.
Yeah. This is hilarious.
Isn't it
Dude,
funny?
how much is the leaf spring doing? This is like...
The leaf spring's doing a lot, but then that's literally just a shock absorber with a coil spring for an afterthought. The shifter is actually almost perfectly lined up for where I would want it.
Okay.
And I've got pretty long arms, so we just cut a big access panel essentially for the shifter.
Yeah.
And then again, my body guy fabbed up a little cover plate, so we'll silicone that in, bolt it in, and it'll be good to go. But it's if you want to sit in it.
Yeah, absolutely. So that'll just kind of complete, like, the fit and finish.
Yeah, just to make sure there's no exhaust fumes or anything getting in or what have you.
Is it going to look stock on the outside? Ish.
Yes and no.
Ish.
He wants to get like a body kit for it.
Yeah.
Which would be nice. But then he came in one day. He's like, "Hey, let's put a rear diffuser on it." And I'm like, and he's like, I'm not really big on diffusers or whatnot. I'm like, well, hold up. I have one that I made for my Supra like 6 years ago, but I made it a bit big.
Just saving it for a rainy day, eh?
Pretty much. I don't like throwing things out. I'm kind of like my dad.
Yeah.
But it's funny because it fits in there perfectly.
Yeah, okay. All right, yep. Yeah, now it's starting to look a little bit more Z06, ZR1 kind of.
It'll be so much fun.
Does he, I hope he intends to keep it wingless. I love C4s. I don't love the way they look, but the rear end, I think they look great wingless. That's just me.
I can't remember if he wants to put a wing on it. I suggested putting a Mark IV whale tail wing, like it's just a stock wing.
Yeah, the silver one.
Just to fuck with people just a little bit more.
But what am I hearing? What am I looking at?
And then I was also thinking of, I still haven't quite decided what I want to do with the valve covers. I kind of want to write either Chevrolet or Toyota or a mixture of the two names in the old Chevy font, just to mess with people.
Yeah.
But I haven't quite decided on what I want to do with it yet. And then intercooler will sit upside down right in here in a factory location, so it'll be nice and hidden. I gave it to my brother. to fab up, but there's an air box that sits over here and angled down.
Oh.
So we're going to make that out of aluminum, so then he can actually still use a factory air filter that'll just direct air straight into the turbo. Yeah, but this engine made 600 to the crank. I think that was on E85. I can't remember. I think it was
This one right here?
Yeah.
In its last application?
Yeah.
Wherever it was? Wow.
Yeah, it was Dan put it on his engine dyno.
Oh,
And
nice.
He made, I think it was like 600 to the crank.
Whoa.
So we'll probably end up going for around the same horsepower.
Yeah.
Maybe tune it down to like 500 to the wheels, which would be more than enough, because that's what, twice, if not more, than what the stock car had.
Yeah.
So-
And so this will have more, well, definitely a lot more power than a C6 Z06.
Oh
even.
yeah, no, definitely.
That's crazy. All right.
This
That's smart.
was by far the hardest part to do, because the transmission mount, there's no technical transmission mount for the C4 Corvettes.
Okay.
The transmission bolts up directly to the diff. Everything's fiberglass. I'm like, well, I can't put a plate in here
No.
to hold up the transmission, so how the hell am I going to do that? So we designed this.
Wow. This is fascinating. So and then you just bolt it straight to the diff?
Yeah, pretty much. So
Oh, wow. This looks beefy,
yeah,
man.
straight to the transmission, and then straight to the C-beam for the Corvette, which bolts directly to the differential. Because the differential and basically the whole rear subframe is basically a big bushing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have a little bit of play, but it'll be nice and sturdy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my brother does all my heavy duty fabricating and welding. And it's just so pretty.
It does. I got a shot from this side, and I'm like, oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, no, he did an amazing job.
Yeah.
But like I said, I just got to pull this out because I may have drilled a couple holes in the wrong spot because I'm special. Because we cut the C-beam out of the car. When I say we, I mean me. Mm-hmm. And I may have not cut it perfectly straight. So when I drilled the holes in it, they're off-cantered a little bit. And I was like, oh. But in order to make it fit, I had to cut off, 5 to 6 inches off of it.
Well, thanks for the mid-build tour, I should say.
Worries, mate.
Yeah, this is cool. But all this, so this is the part you basically have to lower this whole subframe. Which part did you have to lower?
In here,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to see.
Yeah.
So this had a big hump in it, so we just cut it out and just put a flat plate in there.
Oh yeah.
Just to give the engine an extra quarter of an inch of clearance, just in case I do have to go lower. But because the crank pulley is so big on these things, this is as low as it's gonna go.
Dang. Well, all right, you guys. This is we're gonna see this car again for sure. There she is.
It's a big turbo.
It's huge. The exhaust housing looks way bigger.
Oh, it is much bigger.
Way
This is
bigger.
a 7685 precision turbo.
Wow, this is great. So is this like an off-the-shelf precision turbo, or is it some kind of hybrid now?
No.
Wow.
It's got, I think, upgraded internals.
Yeah.
You don't get me wrong. 500 horsepower is more than enough in a Supra,
Yeah.
but
That's surprising coming from you.
yeah. But like if I wasn't such a speed demon, I'm like, oh no, I'll keep it at 500 wheel and be perfectly happy with it. Problem is that I get used to it. I'm like, no, I'm not scared anymore driving it. I want to be scared all the time. I want that element of death in my veins when I'm driving this car.
Yeah, I get it, man. I get it. It was always videos. I always just before I started making videos and driving these cars, you just see it on video, but actually driving it the first time, you're like, no, this is a very
And videos don't do it
crazy
justice.
experience. No, absolutely
Like
not.
you see drag racing videos of these things, even back in the 90s. Like when those first Super from Hell video.
Okay,
When
yeah.
YouTube first came out.
Yeah.
It's like 9-second quarter mile. It's like,
Yeah.
this is not so bad. I ran at 12.2 and I let off 3/4 down the track because I got scared. And I'm like,
Yeah.
to go another 3 seconds faster, I'm like, no.
12 seconds that's a fast car, man. Okay, let me put it this way. For any normal person,
Yes.
12 seconds is that's a 500 horsepower car.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Dan was making fun of me because he's like, what what does a 500 horsepower Supra and a 12, like a 1,000 horsepower Supra have in common? I'm like, I don't know. It's like they both run 12s in the quarter. I'm like, I just wanted
That's
to get,
funny. That's actually really funny.
I wanted to
Kind of
get
true.
an 11.9 just to prove him wrong, and I ran out of time, and then my turbo went.
Yeah. I'm looking at a 10-second car right here. The potential for a 10-second, if not quicker, especially, not saying that you should do this, I don't think you should, but especially if it was a sequential.
I 100% want to do sequential.
You do? Okay. Wow.
Yeah. If anyone wants to buy my V160 or trade me a sequential setup, 100%. Down.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't get me wrong, I love the H-pattern stuff, but I'm too scared to break it. Because if I break a gear or whatever, or do something to the transmission where I hurt it, it's a $10,000 fix. I'm like,
yeah.
so the weak points are now the diff, axles, and transmission.
All of the stuff that's gonna break at the drag strip.
Allegedly.
Yes. Does that say violence is the answer?
No.
I just noticed that. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's what this is. This is violence.
This is just violence.
Yeah.
I love this car.
C4 Corvette. Thanks, Jared.
Anytime.
Thank you. All I gotta do, I gotta listen to the sound of the Supra firing up, two-stepping all the way from Surrey, and I'll be right back.
Yeah. It'll be, I'm hoping to have it done next 2 or 3 weeks.
Wow, okay, yeah.
It's not that much to do, but the big thing is getting it tuned.
Yeah.
So.
Subscribe if you guys haven't already. We'll see you soon.